It starts right away. I got it set up here on my phone. What is going on, guys? Welcome to a live stream that I'm super excited about. I'm here with my special guests, Ryan and Lindsay, also known as Rnzy on YouTube, RNZY, as you can see on the beanie, clearly, and marketing their own product there, which is awesome. So, we are going to have a great conversation tonight, guys. I'm really, really excited because scaling and growing a reselling business is something that has been like very important to me, and I've been wanting to kind of take my business to the next level. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys and get this going. Let me just make sure that we are live, that we're clear, that people can hear us, because if not, I just said everything for no reason. So let us know in the chat if you can hear everything that's going on. I'm trying to pull up on my phone as well so I can just keep up in case I miss anything. Just let us know. Okay, Ian said we can hear you. Mary, hello, Mary. Hello, Greg. There's the chat. It was lagging for a second. So just want to say hey to everybody. My boy Joey Bada Bing, Mary, Greg, Rocky Mountain Resellers, Ian R. Curlis. Hope I'm saying that right. My mother, Mama
Hey.
I for Profit. Thanks for hanging out. And anybody else that's out there, let us know so we can say hi and recognize you. Again, if you guys don't know who Rnzy is, you should know by now. They've got over 30,000 followers on Instagram, almost 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. They've got a great podcast where they are always giving out knowledge, and everything they do is free. So, they share their whole journey. So I'll let them introduce themselves. I've been talking enough, and then we'll jump right into it.
Well, thanks for having us on. My name is Ryan. It's my beautiful wife, Lindsay. And as you said, we go by Rnzy. We're full-time shoe resellers. We're coming up on almost 4 years doing this full-time. 3.5 is safe to say, 3.5 years. We only resell footwear. We don't even resell all the types of footwear. We focus on the styles and the brands that we enjoy, and we're always trying to learn and grow, which I think is going to be the focus of today's conversation, is how to grow your reselling business. We'll obviously be very specific about how we do it, because we only feel comfortable talking about what we do and how we do it. We enjoy what we do. The first little over 3 years, we built our entire 6-figure shoe reselling business out of our apartment. And then in October, we're in November now. In October,
a little over a month ago,
we kind of upgraded and moved into a warehouse that we share with some other big resellers that sell in other categories, books, and there's a big Amazon salsa maker in the warehouse with us as well. And so that's been fun. We're starting to grow our team, and that's been fun. We woke up early this morning. We live in Maine, and we drove a couple states over, and we did a bunch of sourcing, and we just got back in time to jump on here and go live with you. So we're excited.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw your guys' haul, like 107 pairs today. So cool that you guys are always hitting your goals. I want to just say thank you so much real quick to Greg, Rocky Mountain Resellers, for the $5 super chats. Thank you so much. And I just hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube like yesterday. So that's pretty exciting for me. It's been a long grind, but I love making content. So really thankful to you, Greg. And Dan Art Vandalay for the $4.99 super chat. Wanted to say hi and pop in. He'll catch the replay. So thanks so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. You guys don't have to do that. I just like talking to other resellers, but it's much appreciated. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of talking about growing and scaling a reselling business, I figured we'd do a quick little icebreaker with you guys. And again, for those of you guys who don't know, they resell shoes full time, and they just upgraded to their Sneaker Loft 2.0, this warehouse situation that they're in now, which is just really cool to see other resellers growing their businesses. So I'm just really happy for you guys and to see your growth. I've been following you guys for a really long time. I think I found you like somewhere between 9,000 and 11,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't even remember how I found you, but you guys have really changed my business model a lot. So I wanted to start off by saying thank you. A lot of the practices that you guys put into place in your business has really helped me, from little things like using shoe trees in your shoes when you take pictures to, pour gas on what's working and stop being romantic to what's not working. Like
Nailed it.
I really adapt that stuff into my business, and it's really helped me. And reselling shoes online, mostly used for me, but it's become at least 20 to 30% of my business. So,
Cool.
you guys have really helped me out. So I greatly appreciate that. And Lady Luck Junk, thank you so much for the $3.33 super chat. I really
Love
appreciate it. That's a new name into one of my live streams. So it's nice to see you here. And yeah, Joey said the camera is amazing. I upgraded my webcam here just special for you guys because I wanted the content to be
Ah,
as awesome as possible. So
the
um,
beard's looking good on that camera.
thank you, thank you. This time last year it was like down to here. So all right, let's jump into this because I definitely want to talk about reselling. So I got a couple of questions for you guys, and it's just going to be like a this or that to get to know you guys a little bit about shoes, but mainly. But the first one is, everybody knows if they follow you on Instagram that you wake up early in the morning. So who is the better morning person, Ryan or Lindsay?
100%.
Lindsay?
Yes, Sydney and I wake up. We try to make it till 4:30 a.m. Sometimes we wake up a little earlier.
My gosh.
We do our morning walk, drink our coffee, watch the news, and then Ryan usually gets up between 6 and 6:30.
By the time I get up at 6:30, they've got Sydney, our pup, and Lindsay have a pot of coffee in them, and I wake up to like lots of stuff's happening. Here we go, and I gotta get up real quick, starting at 6:30, and we get our day going.
But yeah, I'm
That's
morning
crazy.
person.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a morning person. Sometimes I'm up till 4 in the morning doing listings. So, because that's when I'm most productive, is when the family's sleeping. I'm in my office from 9 p.m. to sometimes 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm up listing, and that's just like my best time to be productive. So yeah, I'm the complete opposite of you guys, but I love seeing your Instagram posts getting up early in the morning. So, all right. Now, one other question before shoes is, since I've talked to you guys about it before, favorite cereal, since you guys both have this crazy cereal wall mountain in your house, or which one are you digging the most right now?
So, fun fact, we both have a cereal wall. Only one of us eats cereal.
So I guess Ryan,
I
your favorite.
wall, but I don't do it. I'm not a cereal person. I'm more of like an oatmeal person, or no breakfast at all. But do you have a favorite?
All right, my top three, hands down: crackling oat bran with a giant scoop of peanut butter. Then it's Fruity Pebbles. And then my third is, there's an old school brand of Cheerios. I can't remember off the top of my head. Actually, right around this corner over here, over my shoulder, is the cereal wall.
Like Oat Crunch or something?
Yeah, it's called like Oat Crunch. And then I mix in from like after my top three, 4 through 10 is like just all the different kind of crazy flavors. And we've had people like literally all over the world sending us crazy cereal boxes from like different countries and stuff. So that's been fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Greg, I don't know why you're doing this, but thank you for another $5 super chat. I really appreciate it, man. Rocky Mountain Resellers. Make sure you guys go follow him on YouTube. Say hi to a couple other people real quick. Braden Rawson. I know I've seen him in some of your live streams before. Kent Daigle, what's up, brother? Good. Jeff A. Addicts. My brother Joey Bada Bing, not my real brother, but he basically is my brother. Hey, and Dalton. Hey, dealing with Dalton. This guy, I love this guy. We go to the flea market almost every Saturday together, specifically for shoes, and we put out a couple videos together. He said, "Hey guys, I'm trying to start a shoe reselling business. Do you think you could send me some hype shoes to sell?" So, but those of you guys who don't know, Dalton is a full-time reseller, shoes only as well.
Here's a fun fact.
I think we lost you for a second.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Dalton, we have we're broadcasting right now. Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, it's kind of laggy on my end. I don't know. I don't know. Let me check the live stream on YouTube because on my end it's showing frozen. Uh-oh. Someone said you're lagging. Someone said you're lagging. Unless it's me. Is it me or is it the whole chat?
Are we back?
I don't know. I can't tell. It's still frozen.
No.
Is it me? If anybody in the chat can let me know if it's me or if it's them. If it's me, I would have to restart my computer or something. No, it's still showing frozen on my end. Someone's saying they are frozen. People are saying we can hear you, but their picture is frozen.
I don't know. We can hear you, Joe.
Uh-oh. Someone said it can. Little Elm Thrift is in the house, said it's not me, it's you guys. So I don't know, maybe you guys want to jump out and then click the link again and I can get you back in.
Interesting. Let's see what we can do here on our end. See what we can do.
Uh-oh. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. Still frozen on my end, but hopefully we can get this fixed real quick. Even with their faces frozen, though, like they don't take bad pictures.
What? It's got. It's like an alien.
Yeah, you guys sound like aliens. All right. Well, hopefully you guys can get this fixed. I don't know if you want to maybe jump out and then jump back in.
I did.
I can resend you the link, or I can kick you out and then you can come back in. It's still frozen, so not sure what's going on there. I'm going to pop them out for just a second and see if they want to. I'm going to kick them, and then let me message them on Instagram just to tell them to try to pop in again. And in the meantime, since we're on the shoe topic, I'll show you guys one of my most recent pickups. 4 shoes. I just listed these today. Some Hoka One Bondi 5s. Got these at a thrift for $2. And check out the tread that is still left on these puppies. So yeah, love the Hokas. These are easy sellers, big money makers. So hopefully they can click the link and come back in. But yeah, Hokas are one of my favorite things to sell. It says device not connected. Let's see. Let me see if I can get them in here. It's loading. Hoka, baby.
Hey.
Hey, all right, you're back.
All right, we moved over. Can you hear us loud and clear?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, I don't know what happened because we were stationary, but we're gonna we regrouped and we apologize for the.
No sweat, no sweat at all. No stress. So.
All right, we're in.
All right, I just wanted to say too that Ken Little Elm Goods is in the house. They're good friends of mine on Instagram as well. They sell shoes as well, so they are killing it out there in Texas, Little Elm, Texas, and they've supported some of my Instagram live auctions, so I'm thankful for you guys and Ken and Eric. So appreciate you hanging out. And all right, so let me I'll cut a couple of the questions short since we had a little technical difficulty, because talking reselling and scaling is the most important part, but just wanted to have a couple quick questions, just to have some fun. All right, so we got the cereal out of the way. All right, so this is if you guys had to choose one or the other, the bins or the Nike outlet, which would you go to?
Well,
two totally different strategies, but if they were both open, but you could only go to one, which one would you guys go to?
The bins.
Yeah, the bins with where we are right now.
The bins at any point, because here's why. Well, it can be different for each of us. The bins are always going to be the lowest buy cost. We're never too fancy to put the sweat equity into cleaning shoes. And the Nike outlets on a whim can change the rules. For example, recently they've drastically lowered the amount you can buy as a reseller, to the point where some outlets don't even let you purchase shoes as a reseller. We've had to go to different outlets. We always follow all the rules, and that makes it very hard to grow a business when at any minute your supply could be gone. And at the bins, you're always welcome. I know there's different rules and stuff because of, what's going on in the world in the pandemic, but I would personally pick the bins.
Cool. All right. And just real quick too, if anybody has questions for Ryan and Lindsay in the chat, feel free to drop them. I've got a whole notebook full of reselling and growth, business growth, scaling topics to talk about. And then some other people in the chat too, Matthew, Jenny, Trey. What's up, guys? I see you all in here. So, all right, couple brand versus brands, and then we'll get into it. Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
Without question, Nike.
Okay. Converse or Vans?
To resell, Vans.
Yeah.
Vans.
Dalton.
Right? Is this to resell or to wear ourselves?
These are to resell.
Okay. Nike, Vans.
Dalton, when we go to the flea market, Dalton loves doing the Vans. Like every time we find him, and we do our little draft, he always goes for the Vans. So now I started scooping him out of our draft so he can't take them all. Hoka, One, or On Cloud?
Hoka
for sure.
One, yes.
Because they have a stronger following than On Cloud.
Cool. All right. Nike Vapor Max or Air Max 97s or 98, either one.
Ooh,
it depends on
any Air Max.
And
Air Max is such a searchable thing, and then any of the numbers that go along with it, like the ones, the zeros, the 90s, the 720s, whatever.
Where my mind just went is it depends on the buy cost, because it's a lot harder to find Vapor Max at a low enough buy cost to make them profitable, but it's a lot easier to find Air Max at a low enough buy cost to make them profitable.
For sure. Cool. All right. And then Jordans or Kobe's?
Oh man, I would go with Jordans right now because we don't feel super great about charging more for the Kobe's, even though because of his untimely death, you could you're probably gonna make more on Kobe's right now, but I would say Jordans.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys are still a little laggy on my end. Looks like the screen is frozen right now. Hopefully that clears up though. So while I'm waiting for that to refresh, because it's still showing frozen, just want to say hi to a couple other people. Vintage Dolphin in the house. Lafayette Watkins, what's up? Blood, Sweat, and Cell, how you doing? Dean and Melinda, Hustlin' Hooks, what's up? Big Majors, respect on Kobe. That's right. So, all right, let's get into talking about scaling and growing your reselling business. I think that there's a lot that goes into this topic. So, obviously we'll try to just briefly discuss a bunch of little topics that kind of consume what it takes to grow and scale your business. And, I look up to you guys as, experts in your industry, in your field, your niche. And you've really shown that you can do it from literally having nothing. I relate a lot to you guys because Lindsay lost her job, and Ryan, you weren't, from one of your videos, you guys said you didn't like your job as a bartender. So you basically from day one just said, we got to pay our bills reselling, and you went full time from day one. And I'm pretty much the same situation. So I would say, when would you guys know, or when did you know how to take the next step from when you guys were selling on Facebook and then you moved to eBay, and then, for example, eBay didn't work out for you and you went to Poshmark and you started growing that? What made you decide to take the step from Facebook to eBay? Was it a certain amount of sales, or were you guys just comfortable and wanted to expand at that point? So you just thought you'd try other options?
So we had hit full deliveries because we were delivering all of these shoes within 50 miles of this. And so there's only a certain amount of sales that we could really do each day, just because of the amount of hours in a day. And so a way for us to increase our sales with the limited hours was to start shipping. And so naturally I went to eBay because that was really the kind of the go-to platform that most online sellers used. And so we figured we'd try it out.
Yeah, and then we did well. We were selling between $5,000 and $6,000 a month on eBay, but then we started getting frustrated with and we were kind of beating our head against the wall and just dealing with it, not realizing that we could do well on other marketplaces. In the infancy of our reselling career, we thought we had to sell on eBay. We thought, like, okay, if we're going to be selling online, we have to do it on eBay. And then we started looking at these other marketplaces, as you mentioned, like Poshmark and Mercari. We even looked into like Let Go, OfferUp, which we're just getting into. Like OfferUp was just getting into connecting you with resellers all around the country or buyers all around the country. And then we just started trying other marketplaces and realized, holy smokes, we can do really well on these other marketplaces. Maybe we don't have to use eBay. Now we always put this asterisk in there. You obviously can build a very profitable, huge business on eBay. We just want to be advocates that don't have to use eBay. You can use other marketplaces, and we've built a very successful, consistently profitable shoe reselling business not using eBay now.
Awesome. Someone in the chat is saying you guys are still a little bit laggy, but the audio is good. So as long as the audio is good and you guys can hear, I hope that that is okay, because that is obviously, that's the most important for sure, that we can just hear the knowledge. So again, I apologize for the technical difficulties to anybody watching. You guys are probably having like a blizzard or a snowstorm or something. Are you there? Can you guys hear me? Uh-oh, I think I lost him again. Think I lost him. So, well, anyway, I think that it is very important to go from like step to step. So while they're kind of recollecting, you guys are, it's like really laggy. It's like super frozen. So I can hear Lindsay saying, "Are we here?" But it's like almost a voice. It's like echoey lagging. So hopefully it picks up for you guys.
Dang, we've tried Wi-Fi.
Hey,
either way,
we're gonna log out and then log in with Lindsay's phone.
Okay, no problem. All right, they're gonna try getting on with Lindsay's phone, and then I'll get them back in real quick. But basically, like what they were saying, which I think is really important when it comes to reselling, is like taking it step by step. So, Rnzy, they're really good at doing something, getting good at one area and then moving to the next one. And I can even attest to, when I first started reselling, I started on eBay, and then I moved to Poshmark, and then I moved to Depop, and then I moved to Mercari. And so I didn't do all of them at the same time. And now I'm on Facebook Marketplace as well, not for all my listings, but for a lot. So I think it's really important for you to become an expert in one area and then get more comfortable with it and then grow from there, and take those steps that way versus just trying to do them all at the same time. Rnzy's here, so let's see if we can get him back in.
Hey,
there we go.
Oh no! All right.
It must be my phone.
Well, don't say anything yet, because we don't know.
the magic phone. Lindsay's phone is the one that works.
Let's try. I have less extra stuff on my phone.
All right. Well, I can see you super clear right now, so and I can hear you. So I think we're on to something. So, and people in the chat are already saying looks better, so that's great. So, all right. So you guys were basically saying, and I was just kind of reiterating the part about, you got good at one area and then you moved to the next one. You started on Facebook, you kind of mastered that for the most part. You proved the sales, and then you went to eBay. You guys didn't really like eBay's platform. There was glitches, there were frustrations. So you guys just completely dropped it and moved to Poshmark. And then obviously you went to Mercari as well, and then StockX and Goat and all these other platforms and other methods that you guys have tried and have given up on. And I think that that's a real, not given up on, but dropped, I guess you could say.
Yep.
And I think that that's kind of the point that I wanted to make with this aspect of the business is that, not every reselling platform is for everyone. Not everybody's business model has to be based on every single platform. Like, for example, I talked to Little Elm Goods on Instagram quite a bit, or Little Elm Thrift, Ken and Eric. And, they were not selling on eBay. They were doing Poshmark and Mercari, and they decided to put eBay into their business model. And for the most part, if they're still in here, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're actually enjoying selling on eBay. And now the last time I saw them post, they've got about an extra 12,000 gross sales in 90 days just by adding eBay. So, and that's not including their Poshmark and Mercari and other platforms that they sell on. So for them, it works. So it's, like I said earlier, for you guys, you say, set a fire to what's working and stop being romantic to what's not. So for you guys, eBay wasn't it, and you just stopped doing it, and you've proven that you don't have to have eBay or you don't have to have every platform to make strong sales or grow a business, which I think is awesome. So kind of moving on into like phase 2, where you guys are at now, which I know there's a lot in between, which we can talk about between like, positions, outsourcing. You guys have people that clean for you. You have a VA. We'll talk about all those little details as well. But you guys have moved into a warehouse. It's called the Sneaker Loft 2.0, right?
Yeah.
So, and it seems like you guys are really enjoying that, and you guys are taking this big step. It's a completely different move from being in your apartment to having this, warehouse that you are, sharing with other resellers as well. So tell us a little bit about the warehouse and what made you guys decide to scale and how you found that warehouse, as well as how you knew you were in a position to move to the next step. Because I'm in a position right now where I have my storage unit, and then I have stuff in my office. And spoil alert for anybody that's in the chat, I'm getting a shed that's going to be delivered into my backyard, and it's going to be twice the size of my storage unit. So everything's going to be in one place, which I'm really excited about. There'll be a YouTube video about the installation and all that. But so like I'm in the process of growing and scaling my business right now. And it was a huge business, not risk, but like I guess you could say a expense and a leap of faith for me to go from having a storage unit and having stuff in my office to spending thousands of dollars to have the shed. But I see the pros outweigh the cons completely. So I'm ready to take that next step.
Yeah, I think to give something very, very tangible to anyone that's listening, the way that the terminology you're using is take the next step, is we weigh out the pros and cons and we weigh out the risk in taking that step. We never make a bet that if we lose, it will drastically affect the business. And so let's start very, very small. Before we get to the warehouse, because that's a big thing. Like there's a lot of people that don't ever need a warehouse. There's lots of people that can build a very successful, I'm talking 6 figures in profit every single year out of your house, out of your apartment. We did it. And you may never ever need a warehouse, but we'll tell you exactly why we decided to take that step. But more importantly, the risk whenever we do, upgrade or take the next big step is actually very, very low. When we actually do it. The first risk that we took was, well, there's lots of different risks that we took, but the first risk that we took was hiring a VA, we'll say a virtual assistant. And it was very foreign to us. We had a lot of reservations about it because we've heard, great stories. We've also heard not so great stories. And so we did a ton of research before we hired our first virtual assistant. And then we decided to use a company called Poshmark Share to hire our first virtual assistant. And less getting into the logistics, but the cost of that was $100 per month. And all that virtual assistant was going to do is share our listings on Poshmark 3 times a day. So we waited until we were making over $100 net profit per day consistently for months on Poshmark before we hired that virtual assistant. So to give you something tangible, we only had to take our profits from one day. We paid that virtual assistant for the whole entire month with that $100, and then we saw if it worked. We only tested it for 1 month. It worked great. We don't recommend doing that if you only have a few listings, less than 250 listings.
I think I got my virtual assistant right around the time I had about 350 or 400 active listings on Poshmark. And when I learned from you guys about the virtual assistant, it was actually you guys that I had asked about it because you were so big on Poshmark. Then I had gone and done some research myself, because there's a lot of people that say they're bots, they're scams, you can get your account banned and blocked. So, obviously there was a little bit of skepticism, but because you guys were so well established on Poshmark, I knew that you guys wouldn't take that risk of losing your Poshmark account over a bot or a scam or something like that. So it was definitely something that motivated me. And then once I did it, my sales went so high up because I hated sharing my Poshmark closet. And the like you said, the value of, I think I pay $105 for the VA that I use. But the value was so inexpensive when you bring it down to a per day cost that it was like a no-brainer. I couldn't believe that I had waited so long to do it. But I'm glad that I didn't do it right in the beginning, because I wanted to learn the business model of Poshmark and to see what I can handle and what I can't handle by myself. And since I'm an eBay seller as well, and I sell on other platforms, but primarily eBay, Poshmark, and I do like vintage clothing on Depop, and then shoes and jerseys and stuff on Mercari. But I wasn't able to make time, especially with YouTube as well, to share a 500 active listing closet 3 times a day and just sit there and do it. So the value was definitely there. And real quick, I just want to say, my man, Josh, Harry Tornado, with the $20 super chat. Hey-o! My man, Josh, I love you so much, dude. He had a live stream earlier. That was really awesome. Live Q&A. Biggest hustlers on YouTube, Drew and Rnzy. I definitely can't say that I'm on Rnzy's level, but I appreciate the kind words. They definitely are. I don't see anybody working harder than you guys.
None of us are on Harry Tornado's level. Let's get that out there.
His YouTube game is mad strong. So thank you, Josh, for the super chat. That means a lot, dude. I really appreciate it. And anybody else in the chat that's just tuning in, appreciate you guys. South Beach, Sneaker Finder, Rnzy Rocks. Oh yeah, baby.
Appreciate
the hairiest. Talton said the hairiest tornado in the house. So, all right. So yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but the virtual assistant thing was definitely a game changer for me.
Let me jump in here about that too, because there's also some confusion, because there are a lot of people that think a virtual assistant is a bot. And so, especially when you're talking about Poshmark, you had mentioned it, bots are not allowed on Poshmark. It's in the fine print. And as you said, we never want to sacrifice our business. So that's why we use the service that we use, is because it's bot free. It connects us with a virtual assistant. We've had our virtual assistant sharing, and then all of a sudden they stopped. And we reached out and we said, hey, what's going on? And they live in the southern part of the United States, and the power had gone out, so they couldn't share. And it just gave us, I mean, it was a bummer they stopped sharing, but it gave us reassurance that it was a human being. It wasn't a bot. We're following all the rules. There are services that cost a lot less, but they're bots. And we're not telling you what to do, but you are sacrificing. You're giving your business over to someone else, because if they catch you, they may never catch you, but if they catch you, they just delete your account.
Yeah, for sure. And me as, a business owner, and I think this is kind of just like dovetailing into this point, is like, for me, I'm a full-time reseller. I do not have another income. Well, I have my real estate license, but I'm not like full-time active in it. Like, I get clients here and there, but reselling is my full-time business. So if I don't make money reselling, I don't pay my bills. So I would never want to risk my business. It's just like when I got Veroed on eBay for using the term Velcro on eBay, they banned my account for 7 days. That's a lot of business that I lost in those 7 days from not being able to use the word Velcro because I didn't know their policies well enough. It's not their fault. It's my fault for not knowing and using it accidentally. But still, like, those things play a major role. So, you know, make sure if you guys are considering using a virtual assistant that it is not a bot, because you do not want to risk having your account deleted or banned or anything like that. I do this whole business by myself. Like, my wife likes to thrift and she helps me with accounting at the end of the year and stuff like that. But I mean, from start to finish, from wake up to sleep, listing, sourcing. Oh gosh, there's a fly in here and it's going to destroy me for the rest of the stream. But from start to finish, you know, I do the sourcing, the cleaning, the listing, the photography, you know, everything. So like everything relies on me. And that's not to make anybody feel bad for me or nothing like that. It's just like, it's just what it takes to do it by yourself. And when you guys are a team, especially because your business is on such a bigger level than what mine is right now, you guys can't risk that for $100 a month, you know, fee. You're talking about, you guys, I think you said one time like Poshmark is, correct me if I'm wrong, but somewhere between like 60 to 70% of your business is done on Poshmark, maybe more. So like, why would anybody want to risk that? So
yeah. And the difference is like $100 a month or $10 a month. It's not like it's free to use a bot. Like you're still paying. So it's not, you know, it's not drastic enough certainly to risk that.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense for us.
So just pop in the chat real quick. I'll get into this because multiple people are asking it and you can answer it quickly, but they've actually said it in multiple videos on their YouTube channel. So I could probably answer it for you, but some Vintage Dolphin said, what service are you using that you trust? So the one I use is called Virtual Posh Assistant. They have an actual Instagram page, and from what I understand, it's a husband and wife team. And I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they make money because it's so inexpensive for users like us. But I had a similar situation like you guys where I woke up one morning and my closet wasn't being shared. And I messaged the lady on Instagram and she said, well, let me reach out to your closet share. And she said, like, there was a family emergency. Someone went to the hospital or something like that. And if it was a bot, they wouldn't make up that whole story. They would just restart the bot. You know what I mean? So it did give me assurance that it was a real person. So I don't know if that's the same program you guys use. I think it is, though, because I thought that's who you guys recommended to me.
No, we use
Poshmark Sharer. There's a link in our bio on Instagram, but yeah, they have their own Instagram as well. But similar thing that they're just kind of like a middleman connecting you with a person, yeah, somewhere that is sharing your closet.
Okay.
I forget the cool. So why we didn't like eBay?
Yeah, there's a couple people that have said that. So
yeah, go ahead.
You go ahead.
It's how we function. It's how we function as humans and as resellers. There's complications. Again, everything I'm about to tell you is not an excuse because there's a solution for all of it.
It's subjective to each person's business model.
What's that?
I just said it's subjective to each person's business model. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's all right. There's less seller protection on eBay when it comes to shoes. There's a lot more fraudulent activity. Not to say that there isn't people trying to scam you on every single marketplace, but there's a lot more of it happening. And when you combine that with less seller protection, you do get taken advantage of more on eBay than you do on other marketplaces. There are ways that you can try to combat it, but now we're getting into the conversation of how you want to spend your day. We personally don't want to spend our day trying to call eBay and get, you know, an unfair rating taken down because it brings down our account, which means our listings aren't going to get seen as much. And then we get into all that drama. We'd rather have better seller protection and not have to spend valuable seconds of our day doing that. Now, there's ways to get around that, of course. And again, there's people that are multi-million-dollar resellers on eBay selling shoes. but you just have to weigh out the pros and cons based on how you function as a reseller.
Yeah, it was the simple stuff too. Like we didn't like the fee structure. We didn't like how you didn't find out, the actual amount that you made on the item, until you pay 10% here and 2.5% here and whatever, and then you have to add in your shipping. That didn't work well in our mindset. And then even just like the listing process wasn't as user friendly as a Poshmark or Mercari. So those were just personal preferences with how we like to keep track of everything. We also like to do things really quickly with systems. So the listing system, like we're able to, now we have a virtual assistant team that does our listing, but I was able to list, 25 pairs of shoes on Poshmark in an hour and a half. And I would sit there like fumbling through 10 listings on eBay, trying to figure out whatever keywords, and I don't even know what I was doing. So for me personally, as the one that lists, I 100% prefer other.
And another thing to jump in here that was kind of the final straw for us was we do use multiple marketplaces, and when someone purchases something on eBay, they don't actually have to purchase it. They can delay their payment sometimes a couple days, and then sometimes they don't even decide to purchase it. So if you're using multiple marketplaces and someone buys something on eBay but they don't actually buy it, what do you do with the listings on the other marketplaces? Because you can't sell them because they've already sold on eBay, but they haven't paid. And so in that scenario, unique to us, I mean, it's obviously not unique to us, but in our scenario, it started slowing us down. We'd have a bunch of people that would buy the shoes, but they wouldn't pay for the shoes. We would take the listings down off the other marketplaces. Then they wouldn't actually buy the shoes. So we'd have to go then relist them. We said, enough's enough. Let's just focus on the places where when they buy it, and we ship it out.
Yeah. I think those are all really, really good points. And for those of you guys that are watching or listening or, watching later on a replay or anything like that, I think it's super important to know, like, first of all, again, Ryan and Lindsay only sell shoes. So it's not like they're selling baseball cards and, beanies and like all this kind of stuff where you really don't have to worry about getting a return on a beanie, because a beanie will normally fit everybody's head. But for example, Poshmark doesn't put up with does not fit returns, which people are always saying, and I can't stand it, which is why I love you guys so much. People are always making excuses about Poshmark, saying that their fees are too expensive. But when you look at after promoted listings and boosted posts and markdown sales on eBay and how long it takes to do a listing compared to what it does take on Poshmark, like I can cross list to Poshmark and Mercari so fast after I create an eBay listing, which is why I do cross listing, because I do the dirty work first on eBay and then I just copy paste the description on the Poshmark and Mercari and it's done. So now again, and Ken just said this and I was literally about to say this, I've had Poshmark returns. You can get returns on Poshmark, but the seller protection on eBay is literally zero for does not fit. If somebody says I don't like them, I had somebody return a pair of shoes that were listed as blue-green, and they said they were more green than blue. I want my money back. And Poshmark doesn't put up with that stuff. And I would say 99% of the time. I just received a return. I received a return on Poshmark this week, but it was because I made a mistake and I listed the shoes in the incorrect size, which was an accident.
Yeah.
And Poshmark accepted the return on behalf of the buyer. But what I love about Poshmark is Poshmark pays for the return shipping. So, I'm not being charged for that shipping. Whereas if somebody would have returned those on eBay, even though it was my mistake, Poshmark is covering that $10 or what they normally charge $7.33 to ship it back to me. They're covering that because they care about their sellers. And so when you just add that $7 in, that's way more value than what the 20% to 13% is on eBay if you don't do any active markdowns or percentage off or something like that. So yeah, great points on the eBay there, especially when you're only selling shoes. And
on
go ahead.
Poshmark, like after the buyer has it for 3 days, like you never have to think about it again. Like once it's delivered and you get that little green check or they rate you, like it's over. It's not like they can come 29 days later, I don't even know what he is now. It's probably like 99 days later. Who knows? And say like, oh, I wore these whenever I needed them, and now I want to return them. Like, you don't ever have to think about it again once it's delivered. The transaction's complete, and that's 3 days after the post person scans it as delivered. So we love that.
And Mercari is the same way too, if I'm not mistaken. Even if somebody doesn't rate you or review you on Mercari, you still get paid out after a certain amount of days, and then you don't have to worry about it pretty much ever again. So if somebody has a problem with their shoes, for example, on Mercari, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say Mercari actually gives you a 5-star.
Right.
If the buyer doesn't rate you after, I think, 72 hours, they give you a 5-star.
Yeah. So on Mercari and Poshmark, the setup is so much different than what eBay is, which is, again, why I don't want to get hung up on this topic, but that's why you guys have chosen to go that route. It's just more beneficial for you guys with your business model. And I will agree. I as much as I love eBay, there are certain things I don't like, but with my business model, because I sell anything and everything, I can't sell a Guitar Hero guitar on Poshmark. So I just incorporate everything I sell on eBay. I'm willing to take that risk. But eventually I'll probably, hopefully I can get to a point where I can have my own website and people would just buy from me. You know what I mean? That'd be pretty cool. So, but so as far as scaling and growing, since you guys are a team, let's talk about those types of things a little bit, because from your Instagram to your YouTube to your podcasts, you guys pretty much do everything together, which I think is amazing and awesome. And I love how, you guys are just so in love, and you say, my name's Ryan, my beautiful wife, Rnzy. Like, you're just always, you guys are just always together. I love that. And, you're not just like two people working together. You like really love what you do, and it makes you guys happy to be together because you can do it together. So, like some of the aspects of your business, like shipping, sourcing, listing, now that you guys, prior to having team members, and you can explain what your team members do at this point, and what you guys currently do. But prior to that, did you guys have specific duties other than, like, you guys, I know you both would go to the thrift together, but then I think, if I'm not mistaken, like Ryan, you take the pictures and then Rnzy would list them, or something like that. So did you have a system that you would do for that? And then what did you transition to now? Like you said, you have a team member that does your listing. So you want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so we started out just figuring out which parts of the business either one of us was the best at, or liked the most, or didn't dislike the most. And so we would source together, and then at the very beginning, like, Ryan would clean them and photograph them, and then I would list them, and I do all of the like back end accounting every day with like doing our charts and figuring out our profit. And loss, well, not losses, but anyway, like our profit for the day. And then we started adding other people in because we decided that our plan is to have a family in the next year, and we would like to be able to remove ourselves from as many parts of the business as possible, with it to keep going as if we were still involved. So we started doing that one thing at a time. So the first thing was cleaning. So we have a team member who does 90% of our cleaning. What else?
So we've actually hired, at one point, but not all at the same time, we've hired someone to do a part of our business. So we've had someone cleaning, we've had someone listing, we've had someone sharing, we've had someone photographing. Sourcing. So we've had people sourcing. So at one point, but not all at the same time, we've hired someone to do it. So now we're slowly molding a team to be able to do all of that. And the last thing that we'll take our hands off is the sourcing, because we feel strongly about that's like the most important part. So right now we hired someone to clean, as Rnzy mentioned. We hired a virtual assistant to share all of our listings. We have a second virtual assistant that sends offers to likers on Poshmark twice a month. Are we still coming in clear?
Yeah, I feel like we're
I can hear you fine. It's very, very, very little bit off, but it's very minimal. Like, you almost don't even notice it. If someone in the chat sees otherwise, please let me know, but I can hear you
Okay.
clearly and see you pretty well.
All right. And so the third virtual assistant.
It's frozen now, so.
So I'm just going to keep talking. Can you hear me?
There we go. Okay, it cleared up.
All right. So the third virtual assistant that we have now, we're actually going to be doing more posts about. We just brought on a team called Hammock, which is doing our listing for us, and they're listing between 25 and 50 pairs 6 days a week for us, which has been really great. But as Lindsay said, we're always kind of molding our business and figuring out how we can bring on someone without sacrificing a lot of the profit, because as you build a team, you obviously it's going to cost a lot more money. So we've had to maneuver our sourcing so that we can maybe source pairs for even less, because it's cost more to have someone list them, have someone photograph them, have someone clean them. And so we always take that into consideration. And it's been running smooth so far. To give you some actual real world numbers, today we brought in 107 pairs, but this week we've brought in around 250 pairs with an average buy cost of $6 when you average it all in. So then we pay someone to clean them, we pay someone to photograph them, we pay someone to list them, and we're still keeping that average buy cost, including all that stuff, under $10.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that you guys that your main business model, at least from what we can see, is keeping stuff under $10 is your buy cost. Dog treats, gas money, all in. So I think that's really cool, and those are some really good points. I also like the fact that for those of you guys who don't follow Rnzy, or are still maybe part-time resellers or something, one of the points that they made about how they have paid somebody to do basically every part of their business, and they figured out which ones are beneficial to them and which ones aren't. I think that's really good to know that, it may be good to, try something like pay someone to do your listing or pay someone to do your photography and see if it works. And then if it doesn't, you just move on to the next business strategy. You always have to test stuff in business. Things aren't just going to magically, make themselves list. So maybe in some of your business models, paying somebody to list is more beneficial so you can go out and source. Maybe paying someone to clean your shoes so that you can go out and source or do the listing is more beneficial to you. So you have to figure out what works for you. Now, Bob was asking, which I believe someone else was asking too, and you guys have answered this on other YouTube videos, but why shoes? Don't want to backtrack too much, but if you could just quickly answer that one, why are you guys only doing shoes?
Well, I'll backtrack a little bit, and then I'll narrow the focus of the answer based on what we're talking about here in scaling. We've tried everything, and we have found that we really enjoy all parts of the business when it comes to shoes. We enjoy the sourcing, we enjoy the listing, we enjoy the photography, we enjoy the cleaning. We've done that for well over 10,000 pairs of shoes ourselves before we started hiring people, and then when the focus of today's conversation is about scaling, we realized about a year in that we could really scale this thing to a very, very super profitable business if we just focused on footwear rather than, and that's just how we function as resellers. And so when we go into a store, if we're only going to the shoe section and we're going through it, we can go through it really quickly. That way we can go to 12 stores instead of just going to one if we were doing all the different categories. And that way it allows us to bring in more inventory at a lower buy cost at a better quality, which allows us to scale because our sell-through rate is very, very high. It also, we can streamline the storage of shoes. We can streamline all the processes, the shipping. We can streamline the whole thing, which means it's easier to then hire someone. Let's just talk about listing. It's easier to have someone to list shoes when you only have to teach them how to list the shoes over and over again. We just spent the last 3 weeks training our listing team to list shoes and cross list the way that we like it, it would be much harder to do that if we were trying to train them in shoes and electronics and
Right.
toys and vintage, and it would just be, it's doable. We're not saying it's impossible. It'd just be a lot harder to fill that position if you're trying to train all those categories. And so to scale our business, it was super important, obviously, to be profitable, obviously to build a system that we could consistently get inventory. And we feel very strongly that we can always find profitable footwear, whether it's new or used. And so for those reasons, in scaling, because we're talking about scaling, it made it very fun. So we never got burned out, and it made it very visible how we're going to scale our business. And so that's what we've done over the last 3.5 years in just focusing on footwear.
And one of the things that you guys have said, which I'm actually kind of surprised you didn't mention it, but I'm excited so I can say it, is one of the things for you guys that you've said about shoes is that everybody in the world wears them. So, there's no lack of somebody needing footwear, whereas a Guitar Hero guitar, for example, is a much smaller niche of somebody who likes video games, but that person who's playing Guitar Hero still wears shoes. So, there's billions and billions and billions of buyers out there for shoes, you could say, whereas there may only be millions and millions or thousands of buyers for a Guitar Hero guitar. So, one of the great things about shoes, which is why I've added it into my business model, because when I first started reselling and I found you guys, I couldn't believe that people actually bought used shoes online. Like, I didn't really think it was a real thing, because it's just not something that, like, I'm cheap to begin with. So, like, if I buy shoes, it was typically like I would go to Ross or Marshall's and I'd go to the clearance section and I would buy something that maybe I didn't really like that much, but they were cheap. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a match my shoes with my shirt kind of guy or anything like that. So, I just bought whatever was cheapest or anything like that. And then when I found out about the business model of reselling used shoes, my mind and my shift in my business model was, okay, this is obviously something that's working. So whether I like it or not, I should adapt it into my business model and see if it works for me. And sure enough, it does. And half of my storage unit is full of shoes now. And I love selling shoes. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things to sell. And I love finding them and just seeing the profit margins on them. And so I've learned a lot from you guys about that. And then Dalton's point here, depth is greater than width, is another reason, like he's a full-time shoe seller. So, when you have those types of strategies in your business, they can work for you. So, so you guys pretty much answered most of those questions. And then even
one thing I was going to say,
go ahead. There it is.
We don't want to move too fast. We are full-time shoe resellers, and so we sell a ton of shoes. If you do not enjoy sourcing, especially used shoes or interacting with used shoes, even with the same opportunity, you're not going to be able to sell as many shoes, period. It's why when can you still hear us?
Yep. Yeah, you're good.
It's why when we started trying to resell in other categories, we didn't enjoy it, so we weren't as good as it. It wouldn't be reasonable for us to say here right now on this live feed that you cannot make money reselling toys or reselling electronics or reselling vintage. Like, you obviously can, but we have a very, very hard time doing that. That's just how we function. But we enjoy the shoes. We enjoy both new and used shoes. So we're very, very good at it because we put more time into it. It doesn't seem like a job. We never get burnt out. And so you could get burned out with shoes if you don't enjoy it. I just wanted to make that point. Like, it doesn't mean because we're very successful at reselling shoes that you have to, but focus on the things that you enjoy and then find the marketplaces where they are profitable and support.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's kind of for me, like as a all over the type seller, like I'm still only a year and a half into this. So I am finding certain categories that like I no longer want any part of and other categories that I want to scale and grow. And so for me, I'm kind of not even at a point yet that I would say myself where I'm like, oh yeah, I only want to be a shoe seller. I only want to sell video games. But I have completely went from like I need to sell anything and everything I can to, okay, these don't work, these don't work, these don't work. And then I'm slowly funneling it into the ideologies, not ideologies, the the business model of what works and what doesn't for me. And so, I didn't realize how big of a market there was for used shoes when I found you guys. And so I started looking into them, I started buying them, and I'm like, dang, this is kind of cool. I just picked up a pair of shoes for $6 and I sold them for 60. And I started looking at, well, I paid $6 for this t-shirt and I'm only selling the t-shirt for 25. So I said, well, maybe I should stop looking for t-shirts and start looking more for shoes. So, you know, we as resellers and business people, we have to slowly narrow down in our business models what works and what doesn't. And then again, not to sound like a broken record, but pour gas on what's working. It's just like it's a great quote, from you guys, because it's just the truth. You pour gas on what's working and you keep feeding that fire to grow your business. That's really the only way to grow it. If you're stuck in a place where you've kind of plateaued, maybe you need to break down your business model a little bit and say, okay, what am I selling the most of? What is selling the best and what is selling the least? And maybe even though I may like finding Adidas or Nike dry fit t-shirts because I can get them cheap at the bins or something for 50 cents, maybe their sell-through rate takes too long. So maybe I should start cutting those out of my business model and start spending more time looking for more profitable items in another category that I sell. So, and then Carlos just made this point too. Yeah, always learning, always growing. I love that quote as well. You guys are such an inspiration to so many people in the reselling community. We could probably just talk about quotes all night here. So a couple more things, just because I know we're going on an hour, so I don't want to take too much more of your time. Is you guys had a series called the first 100 pairs.
Glitches, you got us on.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm not concerned about that at all. But you guys had a series or have a series called the first 100 pairs, and you made a video on it, and then you were kind of teaching people how to start a reselling business and selling their first 100 pairs, like selling on Facebook Marketplace, offer up locally, and then using that money to, start selling. Well, your business model originally was, sell for $25, no matter what the shoes were worth. You sell them for $25, you make a little bit of profit, and then you move on to the next pair. And so you're kind of teaching that in your series. Is that something that you guys are still going to continue to do now that you've gone to the Sneaker Loft 2.0 and you're kind of scaling up? Or is that something that's like less on the table for you guys now that you're kind of, at least from the point where you made that start of the series to where you've grown now? Is that something you still are continuing to do?
Yeah. So we're going to continue to do that. It's content that we've already talked about. So it's not necessarily going to be new content, but it's going to be refreshers of everything that we have posted in that framework of the first 100 pairs. I mean, the reality is our business in the beginning was exactly what you said. We would buy used pairs under $10, but let's just call it $10. We would clean them up and we'd sell them for 25, no matter what their actual value was. Some we sold Jordans for 25. We sold, whatever we had. And I think the part that we don't talk about enough was, yes, we wanted to turn $10 into $25, but we wanted to build relationships with people. And selling someone a pair of $25 Jordans relationship. So we did that 1,200 times before we even thought about a different business model. And then we had 1,200 people that were so pumped that had purchased from us that when we started to sell pairs for a little bit more, or we started to sell brand new pairs, they were like, whatever you have for sale, I am buying, because I trust you guys and you're very nice and you treated me well and I know you're going to bring me a good products. And so I think people overlook that part of it when we talk about our first 1,200 pairs. They say, you know, Rnzy, you are silly. Why would you sell a pair of Jordans for $25? It's because that person who bought the Jordans has bought 60 pairs from us in the last 3.5 years because of that $25 pair of Jordans. Now multiply that over 1,200 times, our first 1,200 pairs, and we have a whole fleet of people that are anxious to buy from us when we bring in new inventory. And that's super important when you're a new reseller, is you want those repeat sales. You don't want to just burn yourself out with the costing one-off sales. What we did in the very beginning to springboard on what you talked about was the minute that we had stuff for sale, people were buying. There wasn't a need for wait because they knew every single pair was $5. We just asked them, how many pairs do you want us to bring? And it went from one pair of threes to we were literally pulling up in neighborhoods and they were all coming, you know, multiple families were coming, and we would sell 600, 700, 800 pairs of shoes out of our car. And our business grew very, very quickly from the beginning because we had a consistent business model. And that business model anyone can use, anyone around the country. You can source pairs for $10, put your sweat equity into them, clean them so they're really nice, and then sell them for $25. Swallow your pride, even though you find those dope Jordans that you could sell for more, and sell them for $25, and then you just build those repeat buys and you're off and running.
Yeah, I think customer service and building relationships is extremely important. And to your point, not enough people value that. And I think that that's even one way that you can scale and grow your reselling business is by building those relationships, you know, with people, or even like you've said before, you know, like managers at Goodwills or other thrift stores, like they know that you're the shoe people, you know, and eventually you walk in and they're like, hey, we got a whole cart of shoes. You know, we were holding them until you walked in or something like that. And all you did was keep a smile on your face, you know, buy the shoes, you know, do your daily diligence of your in and out business, but you were friendly. You talked to the employees, you know, you didn't walk in there, you know, and just like, I don't, you know what I mean? Just like look down, you know, grab a pair of shoes and not say anything at the cash register and then just walk out. You know, people notice that you're nice, you're friendly, you know, you're always happy, you enjoy what you do. And so, you know, building those relationships and then keeping that customer service with repeat buyers on Facebook is really cool. So, especially with how many you guys have sold. So, really cool there. Now,
there's one thing I want to mention. Okay. So when you are giving good customer service, and when you are a good person, we don't talk about this enough, and I'm glad that we're talking about this now. That does not mean that you have to let people walk all over you. We especially when it comes to people online, you know, whether it's someone saying, I'll use an example from you today, Drew. You had about someone that was kind of giving you some crap because you wouldn't sell super low to them. That happens to us. That happens to us on a daily basis. Because we're nice people and because we have respect for everyone, we block those people. We don't say anything bad about them. We don't want anything ill will towards them. But I don't think enough people, you don't need to have that kind of stuff in your life. There's enough other buyers. There's enough people that will treat you well. There's enough people that will counter your offer after they send you the low offer. If someone is treating you disrespectfully or not treating you well, just block them. Don't engage with them. Do it, you know, of course you want the sale, but you don't need that sale. And I bring that example up because you had shared that, Drew. I think you handled it perfectly, but
I'm sorry.
I would take it even a step further and just block that, and just block that dude. Block anyone that is just not treating you well. Like, you're working hard as a reseller. You have enough effort that you're putting into this that you don't have to deal with someone saying, you know, this isn't worth whatever you're putting it up. Just block them. And there's going to be another buyer that's going to come in and treat respectfully and pay because you were putting in the time to research what that thing is worth, and you're listing it at the market value on the marketplace if you're a good reseller.
sure.
And we don't talk about it enough, and I get fired up about this. Just block them. Just block them and move on to the next person who's going to treat you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I never do that. I never do that on Instagram. I'm really trying to be as positive of a person as I can, and I've learned a lot from you guys in that area as well. But man, that one just threw me for a loop, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me, man!" Like, ugh. So, but I'm to anybody that saw that, it's not my business model. It's not what I do. I don't believe in that. I shouldn't have posted it. I take it back, and I'm sorry to anybody watching. I should have just blocked the guy and moved on, but his profile picture was too classy not to share. So, but a couple other people in the chat. I just want to say hey for people that are stopping by. Social Home Goods, Anita, Noel, my friend Anfisa from Alaska. She's a full-time reseller in Alaska. I love seeing her stuff. Wow. She kills it too. She sells a lot on Poshmark and eBay. Very cool to see. Someone said my block list is growing weekly. I love it. Dalton said invite him to the block party. and Fisa said my block party is a mile long. So I guess a lot of people are on the same page as you. But 45 people in the chat still hanging out. Make sure before you leave, you hit that thumbs up button for me. There's only 5 likes on this video so far. So if we can get that up, I'd appreciate it. And a couple other questions here about scaling and how to grow your business. And oh, my boy Chris in the chat, Retail Recon from Instagram, found a pair of vapor fly knit vapor flies, Nike vapor flies on Mercari for like $60, and he just posted them up on eBay for $6,000, baby. Let's go. So
cool.
Crazy.
Home run.
They're apparently some rare shoe from London or something. It was like a limited edition marathon shoe, but there's like one on StockX that was listed for like 6,700 or something. So he's in Orlando. Dalton's in Orlando, so I got shoe competition. But I love both of those guys. They're a lot of fun. So, anyway, so let's move on. So here's a kind of a fun question. Now that you've kind of grown and you're in the warehouse now, the Sneaker Loft 2.0, what is going into the current Sneaker Loft 1.0, or what are you doing with that space?
Well, right now it's pretty empty. We did move our art stuff, our art studio up there, but we're trying to, our plan is to buy our first house this coming like February, March. So we're not getting too committed to the rest of it. It's very empty because we had a boot room, which was our second bedroom. And then we had our loft, which is technically like a third bedroom. And both those are completely empty. And we live in like probably a fifth of our house now, a sixth of our house.
That's awesome.
But we're just keeping light until we move into our, next 5, 10, 20-year house. And then we'll go. So it's pretty empty.
No plans for a baby crib yet, right? Eventually, but not yet.
Plan, but no crib yet.
So that's funny that you talked about buying your house next year, because that was going to be my next question. For those of you guys who don't follow them on Instagram, one of their main things on the front of their page is reselling shoes to build a real estate portfolio. So do you want to talk about that at all, or is that still not in the works yet? If it's too far, you guys don't have to talk about that, but obviously eventually you guys want to get into some type of real estate and build a business with that too.
Yeah, so right now we're building our shoe reselling business to churn out. We have a goal in mind that it will consistently churn out enough profit that we can start investing in some real estate. The first big investment obviously is going to be our first home, which we've started looking for homes. It's going to be in the next 6 to 8 months that we're going to be buying a house. we're building our business up. We're at about 80% to the 100% of where we want to be, consistently churning it out. And then, as Lindsay mentioned, we're going to slowly pull ourselves away and hire people to, run the business so that it is just running by itself out of the sneaker loft. And that's one of the reasons why we decided now was a really good time to get the warehouse, was for a couple different reasons. One, it's going to make the transition from where we live now into our first home a lot smoother. Two, as we start to build our family and have our first child, it was important for us to have business outside our living situation, because we had started to build a team and they were coming in to our now. And as we're starting to build a family, we want that separate so that the team go and worry about us, me in my pajamas, walking around as everyone was working. And the third thing that was super important for us was the risk. As we mentioned, we hired our first virtual assistant when we were making over $100 per day on Poshmark. So we felt that taking the profit from one day to pay our virtual assistant for the month was doable to see if it worked. We make more money per day than our monthly lease on our warehouse. And so it was the same risk. We would take our profit from one day, and that pays off our overhead for the entire month in the warehouse. And so we felt very good about taking that next step up. We probably wouldn't feel as good if our business hadn't reached that level yet. And so it's super important to not, overstep, at least in our opinion, overstep where we were, because we didn't want to make a bet that if for some reason the warehouse didn't work, it would drastically affect our business. And so for all of those things, it was the right time. And now that we're in the warehouse, now that we're building our team, now that we have a virtual team and we have a team that can punch in, they actually have codes. They just go and punch into the warehouse, so we know when they're there. It's full steam ahead. Now back to our initial quote, we pour gas on that fire. We just got to add more inventory. We're refining our sourcing trips. We're building more relationships. We're testing certain things. We're getting better with OA, and all those things combined will then get us to our goal of churning out enough profit to start investing in real estate all over the world.
That's awesome. Rnzy real estate, right? So you need to start selling some of those.
Exactly.
You need to start selling some of those paintings, though. I'm telling you, man, I'd buy one.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you one. They're free.
No, I'll pay you for it. That is, I could never take something for free, but that's not how you grow a business. There's a demand for it. I bet if you guys,
we're only shoe resellers, so we're not art dealers yet.
I bet if you put some of those art videos of you like doing the art on TikTok, you'd go viral for the art, and then everybody would want them. But I know that you like shoes, so I'm not telling you what to do. But the art stuff on TikTok is just blown up.
Focus. Focus.
Right. That's right. You guys know how to do that. So, all right. Last couple things here. Since you guys are scaling and growing, do you have any strategies for like moving older inventory, or when do you get to a point where you're like, all right, we've had these shoes for too long. Let's just send out, offers to likers at this price point just to move it because it didn't sell as quickly as you like, or do you not do that at all? Do you only send out offers to likers, at a percentage, like a 20% off or a 10% off with shipping on Poshmark, and do you just let the waves ride until a shoe sells, or do you have like a certain period where you say like after 6 months or a year, like, all right, it's time to just let these shoes go?
Yeah, so I think the answer to your question goes all the way back to your sourcing. And so if you have inventory that's sitting for longer than you would like, it's because a decision that you made in the sourcing, or it's because of the quality of your listing. And so you have control of both of those things. So let's just say that there is inventory that's sitting longer than we thought it would based on the research we did. What we do is twice a month, we send offers to likers on every single thing in our Poshmark closet. And that usually does move inventory. we send a 20% offer with $4.99 shipping, and that usually starts to clear out a lot of the stuff, only because we do a lot of research before we bring in inventory, and we have multiple game plans to sell that inventory. So let's break down. Let's say we have a pair of shoes. We just brought in this pair of shoes. It immediately goes up on Poshmark and Mercari at the high end of the market value. That gives us a little bit of room to negotiate because everyone knows that there's offers on all those marketplaces. It also gives us a little bit of room to lower the price if people want to buy multiple pairs, and that happens a lot with us. We sold probably 4 or 5 bundles today alone. If it doesn't, if it goes through that process and it does not sell, the 2 times per month that we send those offers to likers usually moves it. Now, let's say for whatever reason it goes through all of that and it hasn't sold yet, we will list that pair on Facebook Marketplace, where right now there's no fees, or there's 5% fees coming up. So the fees are a lot lower, so we can sell the pair for a lot less, but still make our 2-3x our buy cost. Now, we have all those multiple game plans. You can add more, you can have less, but not having multiple game plans and not doing your research while you're sourcing is what leads to inventory not selling. And you have to then figure out, how do I move this stale inventory? And the market's always changing. I'm not saying that when you're sourcing and a pair selling for 80 or 90, it might, the market might drop a little bit. You might have to put up a more quality listing. You might have to have better photos. You might have to have a more thorough description, things of that nature. So we like to think that we're 100% in control of our business. We don't believe in flooded markets. We don't believe that another reseller, undercutting us affects our business, because there's all things that we can do to control our business, and we're always monitoring that on a daily basis. Hopefully I give you some real clear-cut answers of how you can move inventory. There's different marketplaces. There's offers to likers. There's using the tools that each marketplace has. But trying all those things and being maneuverable and being able to pivot is the goal. It's a forever thing as a full-time reseller, but just sitting there and saying, why isn't anything selling, usually doesn't move anything. You gotta take action.
Absolutely. Before I kind of dovetail off of your points, just want to say thank you to Anita for the $5 super chat. You guys are so generous. It's just amazing, the support from the reselling community. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, the hustler of hustlers. I just try to share my journey and show you guys that if you list, you can sell stuff. So, that's all it takes. That's all I do, is I just put in the work. So, there's no secret sauce there. But 2 things that I wanted to say about Ryan's points there is, the first one is Facebook with no fees, is the fact that so many people are not taking advantage of that right now is really crazy in the reselling game. I sell a lot of video games on Facebook Marketplace, where it would cost me 10 to 13% on eBay, and people are buying them straight up on Facebook with no negotiations. And I had this Nintendo Wii with a Rock Band or Guitar Hero guitar listed for $180 on eBay and Mercari. Somebody on Mercari, which I didn't share on my Instagram, came in and lowballed me and said, will you take $100 for it? And they told me I was priced too high. I'll never sell it. 110 is the most I would get for that unit. And then literally 2 days later, I sold it for full price on Facebook Marketplace. So, it just goes to show that different marketplaces can create different results. And then the other point was about doing your research. I think that is probably one of the most beneficial things I've learned from you guys since I've started following you, is when I go to a thrift store, I look up every single item that I consider buying before I buy it. I do not walk in and say, oh, these are clean Asics, they'll probably sell. Or, even if they're a pair of Vapor Max or a pair of rare, or a rare electronic, I still look up to see if there is enough active listings to sold listings with a good sell-through rate, specifically for eBay for that example. But if there's only 14 listed and there's 1 sold, I'm less likely to pick it up unless there's 14 listed and 140 sold. So doing your research on that stuff and not just walking in and saying, oh, those are pretty shoes, or LL Bean is a good brand, so these must have value. Some do not actually have value in the reselling market, or the market is flooded at the time that you found those and it's not a good investment. Now, if you can get something for $1 at a garage sale or something like that, sure. I mean, pick it up if it's $1. But if you're in a thrift and you're looking at a $9.99 pair of shoes, because that's the average of what my shoes are at all my Goodwills, is $9.99, then I'm going to look those up. And if they're only selling for $30, it's not something that I'm prone to pick up where I can find shoes. I'm not that desperate for inventory, and if you're reselling, you shouldn't be either. Like, you need to have practices in place. Like Ryan and Lindsay, at one point, your guys' model again was like you needed a net $25 per pair. I keep saying all this stuff because I've learned it from you guys. You've told me, I've watched your videos. Your net was $25 minimum per pair. So you can't just go into a thrift store and say, well, I'll make, $18 on this pair. It's better than walking out of the thrift store with nothing. If your business model is $25 minimum, don't buy the shoes that are going to net you 18. So it's just, you have to stick and be disciplined. Discipline is very important. And Noel with the 2020 super chat. You guys are insane. This is like overwhelming, man. You guys got to stop with this. But seriously, I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. This is really appreciate it. Thank you, Noel. I don't know what to say other than thank you. So I really appreciate it. But yeah, Chris Retail Recon said sourcing discipline is so important. It really is. If your business model is not structured in a way where you can be disciplined in the things you buy, then you don't just buy anything. Like even me, I will sell anything and everything I can make a profit on. But I have very disciplined practices when I'm looking at something where if it's a Hot Wheels car, I need to get it for like a nickel or 10 cents if it doesn't sell, if it's not a rare car that sells for more than $25. I'm not just going to go buy Hot Wheels cars for $4.99 to sell them for $10. That just doesn't make sense. So anywho, as far as that is concerned, and the last thing that I have written down, and then if anybody has questions in the chat, throw them up because we are going to probably cut this here pretty soon. But you guys have been focusing a lot this year, especially even through COVID and the pandemic, selling shoes locally on Facebook Marketplace. Now, shipping on Facebook Marketplace is great, but you guys have talked about bringing back that Facebook method where you guys used to do it when you first started, and then you went to mostly online, and now you're bringing back Facebook pretty heavy, or at least you were. So is that something that you guys are sticking to for now, or is that just something you were doing through the pandemic to make extra sales since you really couldn't do a lot of thrifting?
Yeah, so based on no matter what news channel you watch right now, it doesn't look like it's going towards a place where there's going to be less pandemic stuff happening. Now, the response to that, we can debate all day, but we have put a lot of thought into that. And you're exactly right. Before the pandemic, we started incorporating like local sales, and then it was a little iffy because we would do a lot of drop-offs on people's porches, things of that nature. But we have, based on what we think is going to happen come this winter, I think we're going to be doing mostly shipping on Facebook Marketplace. As you said, the fees right now are 0. And when they do add fees, they're only going to be 5%. It's super, super easy. We've started to sell a ton of shoes and ship them on Facebook Marketplace. We've had to add our tax info because we started selling so much through shipping. And it just seems like that's the more consistent, easy, no matter what direction the world heads, with different states reacting to the pandemic and what's going to come this winter. It seems like the safest, most consistent thing is, hey, here's a great pair of shoes. Here's a great description. And we can ship them to your door. You won't have to worry about engaging or interacting or even staying within 6 feet or dropping them off. Plus, we've definitely delivered shoes through multiple winters here in Maine, and it is no joke. I mean, you got to have your tires on when you're going up to some of the rural areas. And when there's not even snow plows out on the road, we were out there like trudging through. We would shovel to people's doorstep and then drop off the $25 pair. So all that
I
said, we put
believe
in our
it.
time, we built the relationships, and now I think that the strategy specific with Facebook is going to be shipping to people because it's going to be so easy.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. You guys are the king and queen of no excuses. And I that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you guys about, growing and scaling a business, because one, you've proven it, but two, literally I got something in my eye, I'm sorry, but it gets like 68 degrees in Florida, and I'm wearing 3 jackets, sweatpants, long johns, you know, 6 pairs of socks, and I don't even want to step foot outside. And it's like -3 in Maine, and you guys are like selling flip flops and shoes. It's crazy. So I love that you guys just have no excuses, and it's just a great inspiration for anybody watching or listening, especially people that are following you, just to see, like, no matter how big you are. Like, I love the fact that you guys are so big, from like a social media perspective, having 33,000 followers on Instagram and having this influencer status, and 15,000 subscribers on YouTube, and you still literally day to day you take shoes out of your trunk and you sell them to people locally for 40, 60, $80, and you just integrate that in your business model. I just think it's awesome that you guys have never once shown that you're too good for any type of business model of reselling, to say like, oh, well, we don't sell shoes for $40 anymore. Yeah, that's just too cheap for us. I love that you guys just have that mentality, and it's really motivating for me. Like, even with this Instagram story I shared earlier today, it's like really motivating to see people like you that are never sharing stuff like that, that make me look back and go, I need to be more like them, and I just need to, whatever, brush that stuff off my shoulder and just move on. Because if Rnzy I can't even imagine the amount of DMs that you guys get on a daily basis that you have to respond to. Like, I get frustrated responding to DMs, and I've got 6,000 followers, and you guys got 33,000 people going, can you tell me how to sell shoes? Can you send me a pair of shoes for free? Is this a good offer? Should I buy these pair? I'm in the thrift. How much should I pay for these? I would literally lose it. So anyway,
well,
how do you guys handle that?
One thing that'll help you feel better is well, we enjoy what we do. One thing that I wanted to mention that'll help you feel better is I get very, very frustrated with some people on the marketplaces that reach out and say absolutely insane things. The only difference is I have a beautiful lady right now next to me that's like, we should just block them. Don't respond to them. Don't say the thing that you want to say to them. And honestly, if she wasn't with me all the time, I probably would do exactly what you did, Drew. So kudos to you. We're the same individual. And I get those same, I want to like respond to them. And there has been times where I have responded, but over time, just hitting that block button is always the best. But when it comes to responding to DMs, it's because we love what we do. We know exactly where we came from. We're not better than any other person. We all, you keep mentioning follower count. We all started with no followers. We feel grateful that there's even however many people are following us now are doing it. So to respect that they are asking something from us, if we can answer the question, we absolutely will. I mean, Instagram voice makes it very easy to respond to people very quickly. And we get, a couple hundred DMs every single day. Not all of them are very pleasant. If someone's not being pleasant, guess what we do? We block. We get rid of them. But 9.9% people that reach out to us are very pleasant. They're just trying to figure it out, like we were. And we reach out to people all the time on Instagram as well, and we ask them questions, and some people answer and some people don't. And so we know where we came from. We're not bigger than being able to get a pair of shoes at the thrift and hand clean them and then sell them for $25. We're growing. We have big goals, so we have to do big things to get those big goals. But we're always excited to connect with everyone that is trying to go for their goals as well.
Yeah, I think kind of like what you said, and this will be my last point. And then if anybody has a final question in the chat for Ryan and Lindsay, make sure to put it up now, and then I'll let you guys say any final thoughts about how to scale a business or something like that. But actually, I genuinely do love responding to Instagram DMs of people asking. It's kind of I can't think of the right word, not a dream come true, but it's really like um, motivating for me to keep doing what I'm doing. The fact that people look up to me, like I can't even fathom that sometimes. Like even people super chatting me like that, I bring so much value to them that they would give me their hard-earned money in a YouTube live. But like on Instagram, where people are asking questions, like I genuinely respond to every DM. Like I've got DMs right now and I like want to open them because I love talking to people and networking and building relationships. And people ask me questions all the time that are just so like they're genuinely interested in either what I'm doing, or like I've had friends say, hey, I've got stuff that's sitting in my closet. Do you want to sell it for me? Or, people saying, hey, I see what you're doing and I can tell you're really happy, and I hate my job. Hopefully one day I can do something like what you're doing. Or people asking me a genuine question like, where do you get your shoe trees from? Because your pictures look really good. And then I share that I went to IKEA today and bought shoe trees, and anybody reseller that wants them, just pay for the shipping and I'll send them to you. You know what I mean? And they're pretty much all sold out already. So like, I love helping people. So don't take my anybody in the chat, my one story post today for a monster. But anywho.
You're human. You're human.
That's right. So, all right, guys. Well, it's been about an hour and a half. I really appreciate your time. I've learned a lot just about, steps to take and things like that. Especially the point that I'm taking away the most is trying out things with hiring people, because that's the most scary thing for me. So hiring someone to do an aspect of my business, trying it and seeing if it works in my business model. And if it doesn't, then I just move on and try something else. So I'm really excited to put that into my business strategy coming soon as I get my shed and, hopefully grow my business with that, my inventory, and have better office space, better photography space, all that kind of stuff. So any last things you guys want to say, or tips or tricks you want to give, or advice or words of encouragement, anything like that? I don't see any last questions in the chat. So take it away.
Yeah. So the last thing I want to say is, because you had just mentioned it, if you're going to start trying to hire people, do not pay them per hour. Pay them per piece. So if you're hiring someone to clean, pay them per pair cleaned. If you're hiring someone to list, pay them per listing. Because when you hire people and you pay them per hour, you literally, as you could have the best person in the world, but you're incentivizing them to take longer to do the work. So when you're hiring someone, it's been our experience that the better business model is per piece. Now, that doesn't mean pay them pennies per item that they're doing. You just want to make sure that you're respecting the time that it takes to do the thing that you're hiring them for. But just be conscious of that when you start to hire and test that theory. And then the last thing, we'll end on this note. We're super grateful that you would ask us to come on here. We've been following you for a long time. It's been really great building our business alongside you. We consider you a friend. We're going to be, traveling. We have family down in Florida. So once we can travel safely, we're going to be spending some time down there. We can do a monster shoe haul. We can't wait to dive into that flea market that you guys go to. That'd be super cool. But the last thing we want to say to the general public that everyone's watching is, this is doable. This is very, very doable. There's millions of people that are successful resellers. There's thousands of people in your state, no matter what state you're in, that are successful resellers. You can reach out to Drew. You can reach out to us whenever you have questions. the best thing to do is to do that, to reach out and ask questions that you don't know. You're going to get answers eventually, so keep asking those questions. And then it just comes down to you doing it. It's doable. Just go out there and do it. And then, as we always say, figure out what's working and pour gas on what is, and stop being romantic to what is not. And you will grow as big as you want to grow, whether it's paying your cell phone bill this month or buying a house like we're going to do with our reselling money. It's doable.
For sure, it's doable. If I can do it from being a nobody to not having any reselling experience to building my business where it is today in a year and a half, anyone can do it. Here's one final question that I think a lot of people want to know, and you don't have to share necessarily exactly what you've done, but maybe make a recommendation if you're not comfortable sharing that. I've heard people say, you know, for shoes specifically, like $1 to $2 per shoe, but it has to be based on what your profit margin, your net margins, you know, are based on each shoe. If you're selling shoes to only profit $10 a shoe, it's not going to work out to pay someone $2 or $3 a pair, versus if you're making $25 profit, then paying someone $2 per shoe is a lot better. But, you know, again, like what Ryan was saying, incentivizing, you know, somebody to work, the more they clean, the more money they make. So, you know, somebody could get $2 a shoe and clean 10 pairs in an hour, and somebody could get $1 per shoe and clean 30 pairs in an hour because they're more motivated to clean more shoes. So that would be my take on that.
Yeah, so we don't like to share how much we pay per shoe for this exact reason. We source shoes that need very, very little cleaning. And so if you source shoes that need more cleaning, our business model wouldn't make sense, because it's going to take the person you hired a lot longer to clean the shoes. Or if you source pairs that need even less cleaning than the ones that we source, our business model wouldn't make sense. So a couple things. We do pay per shoe. We are very thoughtful with how long it's going to take the person to clean, you know, let's say 100 pairs of shoes. So we want to make sure that the time that it takes to clean those shoes, they're making a significant amount of money. It wouldn't make sense for us if they could only clean 1 pair of shoes per hour. That would not make sense. It probably wouldn't make sense either if they cook 100 pairs of shoes in an hour, because then most likely they probably don't even need cleaning. So we have cleaned literally over 10,000 pairs of shoes ourselves. So when we brought someone on, we bought all the materials that it would take to clean the shoes. We constantly re-up on those materials, and we taught them how to clean shoes efficiently, combined with sourcing shoes that need very little cleaning. The shoes that we bring in take less than 120 seconds to clean start to finish on average. And so with that in mind, we then had a conversation with the person that we hired, and we said, why don't we pay you this much per shoe based on all these things that we just said? And they said, all right, let me try it. And then over time, they got really quick because of how we taught them how to clean the shoes. And now they're making a significant amount of money per hour because they're good at cleaning shoes and the shoes don't need a lot of cleaning. So with all of that said, you have to take into consideration the condition of the shoes that you're cleaning, the amount of time that you're spending training the person, because hopefully you've spent a tremendous amount of time cleaning shoes and you know exactly the products to buy, you know exactly what it takes to clean each of those shoes, and you can teach that person, and then take that into consideration based on what you said. You have to take how much you're paying them and put that into your buy cost. So if you're buying shoes at $5 and you're only selling them for 10, but you're someone a couple dollars, you really have no room to make money. You have to take into consideration that payment when you're figuring out your P&L, or your profit and loss.
For sure. All right, guys. Well, this has been a lot of fun, but I don't want to hold you guys up any longer, and I've got some listings to do as well. So I really appreciate you guys hanging out, dropping some knowledge. Make sure you guys go follow Rnzy. If you're not, I'm sure all of you are, but if you're not, go show some love to their channel and their Instagram. In the description of this video, I've put their YouTube channel, their Poshmark closet, and their Instagram page for you to go check out if you want to see how they do things on Poshmark, or if you want to buy something from their closet, you can go do that too. And anyway, thanks again so much for hanging out with us. And hopefully you learned something. That's the goal with these lives, is to learn something and to teach people as well. So yeah, just finish off with a big thank you. Thank you to everybody who super chatted in the live. I really appreciate you. And to Ryan and Lindsay, thank you for your time. Thank you for everything you do for the reseller community. You guys are a big inspiration for me, and I love you guys. I can't wait for you to come down to Florida whenever you do. We'll get together for sure.
Thanks for having us, Drew. We love you too, man.
All right. You guys have a good night, and we will see you on the next one.